Life is good. All right. So the first thing I want to say is that when you say I will, it can be either active or passive. So I went to my favorite place, the dictionary. The first definition of will in the dictionary is desire, longing, wishing. All right, that's kind of passive. You see, desire, longing, wishing doesn't get a whole lot done. It doesn't actually make a lot of things change in the world. In the Bible, in James, it says, "For as the body without the spirit is dead, so faith without works is dead also." So I read on. The second definition in the dictionary for will, one's independent faculty of choice. The ability to exercise one's choice or intention. Now that's a little more power behind it. Now if you just look at the affirmation I gave us this morning before our candles, I'm willing to see only love in myself and everyone. Can be taken two different ways. Like, yeah, I want to see love in everyone. I'm willing to see it if it shows up. If they make it obvious, I'm willing to see it if they put it right in front of my face. Or I'm willing to see only love. That's all I want. That's my focus, that's my intention. I am working at seeing only love. See, there's a big difference in how that comes about. So we look at willpower. A lot to be said about willpower. Big deal. Now, willpower is a big enough deal that it has its own definition. So the dictionary says willpower is the trait of resolutely controlling your own behavior. Wow, that defines it pretty well. It's the strength of will to carry out one's decisions, wishes, or plans. Now the first thing I want you to notice about willpower is it's not wish power or want power. It's not magical thinking. We've all done that, right? You know, that's the lottery thought. That's wish power. Willpower is actually taking a wish, adding some action, so that you end up with empowered will. Simple formula. A wish plus action equals will. Now, willpower is also not won't power. See, a lot of times we go, I don't want to do that, I'm going to stop doing that. I'm not going to eat that, I'm not going to smoke that, I'm not going to do that, I'm going to change that behavior, I don't want that anymore. What you focus on, you strengthen. What you resist persists. So as long as you're focused on what you don't want, you're going to have it always present in your life. Willpower focuses on the outcome that you desire. It focuses on your goal. It focuses on the behavior or the activity that is empowering for you. It doesn't focus on what you don't want. Now, in the thesaurus, that's another nice book, goes right along with the dictionary. The thesaurus tells you all the things that are just like the word you just looked up. So willpower, in the thesaurus, the synonyms are self-command, self-possession, self-control, firmness of purpose, resoluteness, and resolve. Wow. All of those are strong, powerful words. Lao Tzu in the Tao Te Ching said, knowing others is wisdom. Knowing the self is enlightenment. Mastering others requires force. Mastering the self requires strength. He who knows he is rich, he who knows he has enough is rich. Perseverance is a sign of willpower. Now there's actually a third definition of will in the dictionary. So I can't bypass this because somebody's going to go, what? Sunday and say, how come he didn't talk about that? So the third definition of will there is a formal declaration of one's intent concerning the disposal of one's property and holdings after death. Now, it's a great synonym because, again, with no will, there is no enforcement of your wishes. So again, you've got to have some action taken. So what I gave you on your little handout today, this is part of the practical stuff. You can take it home and play with it. There's a little thing. I ran across this. I never knew this, but there is a place at Stanford called Persuasive Tech Lab. Yeah, Stanford will do anything, you know. It's like, but they have it. It's the Stanford University Persuasive Tech Lab. And they made a list, this think tank they have, they made a list of the 10 top mistakes in behavior change. First of all is relying on willpower for long-term change. Have any of you ever, by the way, held something out at arm's length, even a pencil or a book, or even just held your arm out? And it holds just real nicely for a minute or 2 minutes or 5 minutes or 10 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, 5 hours, a day. That's like willpower. Willpower is enough to get it started, but you cannot rely on willpower to keep you going, to really make long-term change. Second mistake, attempting big leaps instead of baby steps. How many of you have ever said, I'm going to change all of this at once, right now, and then realize no chance, and so you just quit? Yeah, volunteers. Third one, ignoring how environment shapes behavior. You know that in certain circumstances, you just want to eat. Isn't that true? Yeah. How many of you eat in front of the TV? Right, me too. So I sit down and watch TV, and the first thing I say, well, what's I'm going to eat? So if I want to change my evening eating behavior, I have to change my environment. The fourth mistake, trying to stop old behaviors instead of creating new ones. Again, remember, what are we focused on? What we don't want or what we do want? So who cares about the old behaviors? I'm sorry, but they're unimportant right now if you've really made a decision to change. You focus on what you do want. 5, blaming your failures on lack of motivation. There are so many factors besides motivation that go into change. And that's just an excuse to beat ourselves up. Only I was motivated. By the way, the most motivating thing is to be successful. Ever notice that? When you achieve a goal, even a little baby step, you feel good, you feel motivated. Let's see, 6 is understanding the power of triggers. Well, that's a little like environment. But you know, there are things that just do that. And if you want to make long-term change in your life, you have to recognize and let go of those triggers, those things that set you off. Believing that information leads to action. It's the 5th unity principle. Great, you know all this stuff, do something about it. I studied all about this, how come I'm not getting healthier? 8, focusing on abstract goals instead of concrete behaviors. You know, it's like enlightenment. Instead of, I'd like to be peaceful this moment, right now. 9, seeking a change in behavior forever instead of for a short time. It's AA, one day at a time. See, one day at a time I can handle. Forever is a big jump. And if I mess up, then I've blown forever, haven't I? So one day at a time. I mess up, I got another day tomorrow. And the 10th mistake is assuming that behavior change is difficult. Isn't that interesting? We get what we expect. It is actually easy to change your behavior. the more you believe that, the easier it gets. So this guy, B.J. Fogg, apparently part of this same persuasive tech lab, came up with his 3 steps to new habits. So this is really, really good. That's why I gave it to you, okay? 1, make it tiny. He says, to create a new habit, you must first simplify the behavior. Make it tiny, even ridiculous. A good tiny behavior is easy to do, and it's fast. For example, floss 1 tooth. Now, who could not floss 1 tooth? His other example is walk for 3 minutes. Do 1 push-up. Make it tiny. 2, and I like this one. Number 2, he calls it find a spot. He says find a spot in your existing routine where this tiny new behavior could fit. Put it after something that is a solid habit for you, like brushing your teeth or eating lunch. He says here the key is find what it comes after. What do you do absolutely every single day with great regularity? Put your tiny little change right after that. Make sense? Third thing, he says, third step is train the cycle. He says, now focus on doing the tiny behavior as part of your routine every day. We know at first you may need reminders, but soon it gets automatic. Keep the behavior simple until it becomes a solid habit. That's the secret to success. And step number 4, he says, that's it, no more steps. His life lesson, believe in baby steps. Do you guys understand that a baby step taken successfully causes you to feel more motivated, causes you to feel good about yourself? It raises your self-esteem. It raises your sense of your capability. It gives you a sense of accomplishment, even if it's just a little teeny thing. And from there, things grow. There's a book I ran across called The Dynamic Psychological Field, back in 1975, modern stuff. And he defines will, this guy Rummel, R.J. Rummel, he defines will in that book is, the will is that which exerts conscious control over a person's behavior. It is the power of choice between alternative actions. The power of choice between alternative actions. So in any circumstance where you desire to have a change, you have your normal behavioral tendency, meaning in normal circumstances, I would head this direction, I would do this. And you have what you really want, which is go in this direction over here. This is my goal, this is what I want to do, this is a new habit or behavior. And will is what closes that gap. Will is a conscious choice that makes it easier and easier and easier to align those two so that your behavioral tendencies actually disappear or begin to support your desired choice and change. All right. There's a book I have quoted the title of 100 times. It's called The Right Use of Will. And way back, I don't even know when she wrote this book. It was a long time ago. And I never read this book. And I made up what it was because I liked the title. And so I ended up reading some of it, and I think this isn't all what I thought it was. And she's talking about how to empower your will and stuff like that. And I don't really care about that, but what I cared about is this. So I'm going to read you this little section out of it. She said, the right use of will is free will. The will has for so long been judged against, controlled, disciplined, punished, and denied that most of us no longer really know what our will is. To whatever degree we have been denying our will, we have had conditional love for ourselves and therefore for others. I've mentioned it before, there's this ancient Vedic prayer chant called the Gayatri. And the Gayatri says, we meditate on the glory of that being who has produced this universe. May he enlighten our minds. And the other line in the Gayatri that I always quote is, I will to will thy will. Psalms 40. I delight to do thy will, O my God. Yea, thy law is written within my heart. In Matthew 6, in the Lord's Prayer, it says, thy kingdom come, meaning thy kingdom has come. Thank you. Thy will is being done on earth as it is in heaven. The problem is not with all of the spiritual stuff, but in our everyday life, who or what do we put in the thy place? Thy will be done. I will to will thy will. See, the sacred texts, of course, are referring to God, our higher self, our Christ self, the Buddha nature, whatever, however you want to see it, the big picture, okay? But too often we make the thy in our own life our parents, our teachers, the rules and regulations of society, or our job, our ego and our personality self. What we've done is we will to will thy will, but thy, that definition causes us to be limited. So I'm inviting us to expand how we see that. I believe that the key to the right use of will is commitment. So I'm inviting each of us to commit or recommit to remembering the truth of who we are, even if we need to be reminded again and again and again. To commit to remembering who we are. Also, my other big thing is I'm inviting us to commit to pay attention to the experiential feedback that we get from our world. That's what tells us, are we on track or are we off track? Is this working? Is this not working? And lastly, I want us to commit to which thy we're actually letting lead our life. I want to close today with a thing that was written by a guy named William Murray, W.H. Murray, a long time ago, the Scottish Himalayan expedition, Until One is Committed, and it's on the back of your little card, so you've got it if you want it. Until one is committed, there is hesitancy, the chance to draw back, always ineffectiveness. Concerning all acts of initiative and creation, there is one elementary truth, the ignorance of which kills countless ideas and splendid plans. That the moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves too. All sorts of things occur to help one that would never otherwise have occurred. A whole stream of events issues from the decision, raising in one's favor all manner of unforeseen incidents and meetings, and material assistance which no man could have dreamt would have come his way. I have learned a deep respect for one of Goethe's couplets. Whatever you can do or dream you can, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. So I'm actually inviting each one of us this morning to commit to taking the tiny steps that will really allow us to be more like more. Thank you.